look around this stuff. Physics of the mind, want to call it that. My son sent me this compassion cards, teachings for awakening the heart in everyday life. And these particular cards, they have things like this on it. Be grateful to everyone. And then on the back there's a discussion. Others will always show you exactly where you are stuck. They say or do something and you automatically get hooked into a familiar way of reacting. Shutting down, speeding up, or getting all worked up. When you react in a habitual way with anger, greed, and so forth, it gives you a chance to see your patterns and work them honestly and compassionately without others provoking you. You remain ignorant of your painful habits and cannot train in transforming them into path of awakening. Here's another one. Let's see. Whenever you meet unexpectedly, join with meditation. The unexpected will stop your mind. Rest in that space. When thoughts start again, do for whatever breathing and whatever pain you may feel, thinking that others also feel this, and gradually become more and more willing to feel this pain and to wish that others wouldn't have to suffer. If it's a good shock, send out any joy you may have feel, wishing for others to feel it also. I know it seems like what's physics got to do with this, and the whole growing up and learning and experiencing and feeling and becoming and dealing with others, we don't get taught much about that. It's totally left up to us, and I've talked about this many different ways. Thoughts about thoughts and so on and so on. And these cards sort of reminded me, and I like physics, and physics is like everything else. It has measurable quantities or qualities, things with qualities, and there are definitions for them, and in the physics world they have symbols, names for things. Like, just like we have names for emotion, like dread or joy or anger. Okay, in the physics world, they have these. I got ringing in my ear all of a sudden over here. I wonder if somebody is trying to send a message through. I don't have a telephone piece in my ear. It's just maybe something's coming in through the shared etherness. Anyway, in physics, they have these definitions, just like we have definitions of all kinds of things, having to do with the mind and how we feel and how we think and so on and so on and so on. In the physics world, they have definitions, and they have symbols for definitions. And what I find refreshing is they can take these definitions and make equations, if you will. They can, something here is a result of this, this, and this, and a certain amount of this, this, and this, or how much this changed this, this, and this. It gives you a way of using definitions for precise sort of things that then can explain or derive. You can derive that something else. It, like Einstein's theory of relativity, for instance. There are equations that are made out of well-known and established definitions for various things, like, I don't know, density, acceleration. Anyway, the point being is that we have we do sort of the same thing. I years ago wrote down, I want to call them euphemisms. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Those who cavort with eagles, cavort with owls at night, cannot fly with eagles during the day. I had 500 of these sort of aphorisms, and I'm sure a lot of them are cultural based, but you can find the same sort of idea, even in other cultures, expressed another way. And I think these are sort of, definitional foundations upon which we can craft our thinking or behaviors, as if you use them to create an equation. Say you wanted to be happier. Let's do it that way. The goal is to be happier. Okay, what are the elements that would fit in an equation for happiness? Okay. And you're saying, well, what are they? I'm saying, I don't know. You know. Each individual would know what elements and what quantities, how much you need of this, that, to make happiness. The key is, and I tell you all the time, don't look for others for your happiness. You're responsible for your own happiness, not anybody else. You can't marry for happiness. The other person makes you happy. Well, they might not always. It just doesn't work like that. You're responsible for your own happiness. Well, I say that. Okay, well then what? Okay, there's lots and lots of self-help books. There are cards. There are schools of thought, that give you clues. And I think in the end, what I'm trying to get to, all these sorts of things, these help, these cards, books, schools of thought, religions, all of these things provide some elements that, if I knew how to do it, I could, but what I'm saying is that you could make equations to then adjust. Maybe back to goals again. What are the goals? What do you want? What do you want to do? I want to be happier. I want to be less angry. I want to be more insightful. I want to be more aware. Okay. What are the elements of the equations that go into making that so? Think about it in an equation sort of way. Some things are big, just like in physics. I mean, gravity is a big one. You grow up from when you're, one of the first things you learn is about gravity in a roundabout way, because you fall off stuff or things drop. It doesn't float in the air, it falls down, and that's all because of gravity. And you don't know that's what it is, but that's what it is. So lots of stuff is big items, and like where you live and the people you're around, where you live, your work environment. These are big items, big factors, and some equation for a specific goal, or if you want to be more aware. Some people go out and become by themselves, and like Buddha, he sat underneath a tree for 20 years or something. He didn't do anything. He sat there and tried to become one with where he was. Close him, get real quiet, and just let where he was totally seep into him, and him totally seep out to it. That's one approach, and he used that nihilistic sort of approach. The equation is a kind of a null. Don't do anything. Just sit where you are. Shut your mind off. Get really, really quiet. That's for awareness. It was Buddha, a happy dude. Yeah, I guess so. You always see he's got some Mona Lisa sort of smile on his face, right? So, yeah, I guess he's joyful, content. Maybe you want to be content. What's the equation for content? What are the parameters? What are the factors? If you look at it that way, that's not the way we look at this sort of thing. But I'm just bringing over from the physics world where you have defined things that have attributes to them that are well known. And in some cases, like, take an electron. I think there's like 300 attributes or something associated with just a simple electron. Its spin, its mass, its, I don't know them all. There's a whole ton of them. How they interact with other things is well known. Okay. Maybe you don't know how you interact with other people real well. That's a parameter of you, a characteristics of you. Part of the equation, a big part of the equation is you, like your past. That's part of the equation. Any equation, it would associate with you, like if you're trying to become more aware or become more calm, your past is there. There's no getting around that. That's a big one. That's like gravity, okay? What you make out of it, how you view it, how you it would be like baseball, big baseball, okay? But you can dissect a baseball. You can take it apart and see the components and realize each one, the purpose of each component. So if you looked at your past, you could sort of do the same thing. Your father, your mother, your neighborhood you lived in, what happened to you, good things, what happened to you, bad things. Why, I don't know why certain things happen when you're a child. They just do. And some things can be really, really bad, and perhaps you can never quite get over them. How you deal with that, I'm not sure. I'm not proposing something. I'm just saying that if you look at it in a clean sort of way, if you can do that and find the components, the real important components, then that's a component that you have to include in any equation for happiness, for contentment, for awareness, for another one of these, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I don't, in general. I just throw out stuff. It occurred to me, it's too bad we don't have, and maybe we do, it's just not formalized quite as well. There's a physics, they have classical physics and theoretical physics, and they have particle physics. They're all separate schools which deal in various aspects of the real world, of matter, of space, of time. And by identifying quantities, qualities, you can do real stuff with it. We send people to the moon because we understand various aspects, physics aspects of the real world. Okay, well, when it comes to your mind and your whatever it is, attributes associated with you, a happy person, a sad person, a lonely person, a needy person, an unsatisfied person, there is an equation going on somewhere that's made out of components that wind up with you being in the spot that you're in now. You just have to identify what they are, and then maybe you need to subtract one out, or maybe you need to add three, and I don't know what they three are. I know that from my perspective, the universe is sort of always talking to us. And when I say the universe, I don't really know what I mean. The universe from a physics point of view is everything. You know, look out at the night, 13.8 billion years worth of space-time expansion and the convalescence of creation of matter and convalescing into suns and planets and neutron stars and all those sorts of things. But one of the flaky areas is down in the little teeny tiny areas. And read an article today. What happened before the Big Bang? Okay, 13.8 years ago, supposedly. In that area, there was very hot, dense grapefruit. Everything was in this very hot, dense soup of unknown whatever. I don't know what it was. Nobody seems to know what it was. But you take it back further. What was it before that? Okay, and this is where philosophy and religion and all kind of things come into play. And I don't think there's any set answer, but you know, you can wonder if perhaps all of everything. You know, some people say it's all just a dream. Sunshine daydream. It's all just a dream we're sharing. You know, and you know, I read stories that we're all in a computer somewhere. We're all holographic. We're you know, like the Matrix. We're all inside a computer, some simulation that some body God is running the simulation to see. I don't know what he wants to see out of it. What is the end result? Just let it run. You know, I thought it was interesting years ago that ecologists and so on, you know, if they introduced a new species into a lake, they would look at all the parameters and things, and they'd mathematically calculate forward. So for 10 generations from now, they would sort of know what this new species, how it would fit in to the environment that was there before they put the species in, and they did it all by hand. And they ran like 5 generations. And when computers came along, you can run 500 generations and you get an entirely different answer. Of course, it's a whole simulation and models and things like that, and running it millions of times. I see NFL now simulations on, okay, who's going to win the game coming up this week? And they run a simulation 10,000 times or 50,000 times, and it comes out with a range. So, you know, one team has a 51.2% chance of winning a game over the other team. They're really selling you a lot, isn't it? I mean, everyone know all the parameters they throw in, the players and the weather and everything else in it. Okay, off the tangent, off the side. The physics of the mind. There are schools, and I haven't gone as deep into various schools of mind as I have into physics. I don't know a unified mind theory. You know, in the physics world, there is a desire for the unified field theory, which would tie everything from the very smallest identifiable quantity, although we don't know what that is. You know, we think that there's even smaller, whatever we find is now is, call it X, we think that it's actually made up of components that could be, you know, 2 Z's, 5 D's, something, you know, a whole tree of more stuff underneath there that went into making this one item. And the point being that I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just physics of mind, parameters, quantifications, attributes. But I do think it's valid to, okay, if you're sitting around in despair, maybe you need to take the derivative of despair and figure out what are the little tiny increments that are made up of what are the components of despair? What are the components? I talked about a periodic table one time where you know, you would put all the emotions and arrange them in some sort of by weight, you know, and that anger was actually made up of this, this, and this with certain kind of weighing. And I don't know if you're getting it or not. I'm trying to do a feedback loop on you, and I'm not sure. The point being is maybe we're all just figments of our own imagination. I don't know that there's, you know, a single creator. We're connected. We're all the same, but we're elements of a unified mind, of a unified consciousness. We're all conscious of, you know, we all, you know, all over the world, there is a shared experience. Even though the environment can be completely different and the culture can be completely different, there is a shared human experience for sure. I mean, we all have faces of one way or another. We all have, you know, and we know other animals and we see the sky and the stars. And there's a healthy dose of shared experience. And from that, is it something, yeah, we're born into it, but chicken and the egg, I mean, it really didn't exist for you and me before we were born, you know what I'm saying? And it really won't exist after we die in that sense. But maybe both the birth and the death, and you know, a lot of religions talk about that. They're just, you're in the cosmic egg of consciousness that we all share, we all have, and that's enough of this. The cards made me think about it, and these are not bad tools. I'm not saying that at all. Anything that provokes thought and gets you thinking about it, it provoked thought in me, physics of the mind, the unified mind theory, you know, that explained it from chemical, neural, all the way up into high levels of abstractual thinking, like Einstein did, that saw things that nobody else could see, and connections between things that nobody else could see. And there are always all kind of connections. Periodically I run into people, and as soon as I get close to them, I know they're awake. They're real. They're not cardboard people. Cardboard people. You ever run, you know, the cutouts of people, they have cardboard that stand up in the corner over here, you know, you can buy a cardboard cutout of probably Taylor Swift for all I know. I don't know. You can have Taylor Swift sitting in your, standing in the living room if you wanted to, but it's kind of one-dimensional. I mean, I guess actually two, since it has an X and a Y plane, maybe a little teeny Z. But anyway, they're real people. They're awake somehow. I don't know what that means. Uncle Ron's stuff today is the 19th of December, and this was the Physics of the Mind. And if you're reading self-help books and you are looking into things like this, and religion and Buddhism and the chemical, you know, peyote, LSD, all sorts of helpers, then give it some thought. Try to identify quantities and the equations that go into making how you think about things or feel about things. Uncle Ron and stuff, that's it for today, and it's cold outside. 2 thumbs up to you. Merry Christmas, and a very good 2024 to us all. Okay. 1, 2. I do this with dog all the time. He still hasn't got it. 3. You want 3 bones? 2 bones? 1 bone? You know, very simple mathematics, numbers. We learn that real quick, but we don't seem to be able to apply it to our own what do you call it? Chemistry of being. The chemistry of being.